I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, November the 21st. Let's don't blame the cattle on feed report for the down market on Monday this time. I know a lot of times that it really spurs the market to go one way or the other, but really the analysts did a fair job this time. Of course, they missed the placements, and they always do. They were a little bit short on them, but they pretty much nailed the inventories on feed, and I'm not sure how they do that and miss the placements at all, because they all figure in together. But really, I don't think there was a whole lot of attention brought on by the release of the cattle on feed report. We're just in a down market. We were really fortunate to get the fall rally that we got right in the face of the big numbers of calves that come, and should just appreciate that. But it's kind of run its course. We're in a down market now, probably will be for the remainder of this year, and we just need to look at basic supply and demand. Feedlots are really full around, and these guys are just starting to back off these cattle a little bit. There's been a lot of them move, and they've been placed, and it's just basic supply and demand. But look at the board for Monday. February live cattle were down $1.65 to end the day at 123.02. December spot live cattle contract down $1.75 at 117.10. And now, compared to last week's weighted average, we're back to a $2 basis, which makes your cattle feeders real comfortable, because by and large they're all hedged, and they need an extra $1, $2, or $3 here and there to help them try to make their break evens. January feeder cattle down $2.17 to end the day at 149.55. Your weighted average on last week's fat cattle trade in the direct sales of the 5-area feeding region, 94,100 head. So we did have some cleanup sales there on Friday, and they were no lower, because actually your weighted average crept up just a little bit. So that's a good thing that we can end last week's trade on. But your weighted average on live steers in the 5-area feeding region, the 119.35 down 336. Your dressed steers had a weighted average price of 189.31 down 231. Look at your feeder cattle markets on Monday. We knew we're on the weak side, but with the board opening down hard to begin the week, your cash sales were a little bit lower than probably we expected, and some of your late sales last week were lower than what your Monday sales were a week ago. So did incur some losses there. But your real-time index on Beef Market Central, with a weighted average of steers weighing 7 to 899 pounds, ended on Monday at 151.79 down 81 cents. Look at your big Monday sales. Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City, 7,800 head. Feeder steers $2 to $7 lower. Your bigger calves over 450 pounds, $7 to $13 lower, with the full decline on the heifers. But pee-wee calves sold pretty good, especially the steers and the guys that are trying to finish filling their wheat pastures. A lot of those guys like to run steers, and they needed to add to them. And the pee-wee steers under 450 sold $8 to $12 higher in Oklahoma City. Heifers $1 to $2 lower, but that's kind of a gift there, because your bigger heifer calves were a foot lower. But you look at the big sale they had on Monday. It was Joplin Regional Stockyards. I talked about it to start the week there. They were expecting and pretty much received 100 loads of yearlings. They sell a lot of cattle there. They had 9,900 head there on Monday. And still the yearlings were $3 to $6 lower, even though they did get some buying power in there. Had some big time feeder guys sitting in there buying cattle, and they marketed a lot of cattle through there, albeit at a lower level. Calves steady to $3 lower. Saw on the report, the automated report on Cattle Market Central, the most popular weight of steers was your 6 weights, of course. 1,137 head of 6 weight steers averaged 656 at 153 even. That was down 221 on the weighted average compared to the same weighted average a week ago. But you know, Joplin is famous for getting a lot of cattle, and a lot of those cattle go through there 2 times. A lot of backgrounders in that part of the country, in the 4-state area. There's a lot of cows there too, but that fescue pasture in that part of the country really lends itself to backgrounders, and you can heavily stock those pastures seasonally throughout the year and get by pretty good on that, and do a little bit of supplemental feeding. But they're famous in Joplin for getting just feeder cattle. And if you think all the cattle that are fed in this country are all, you know, peas in a pod and things like that, you need to come down here to the Southern Plains feedlots and Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle, Southwest Kansas, and look around, and you'll see that you're wrong. Most of your cattle are Okie type cattle, put together, predominantly English cattle with a touch of cross in them in places, and that's the kind of cattle that are mostly fed in the Southern Plains. But at times they do get some fancy rigs in Joplin there, and they can still bring a big price. You look at this bunch of cattle here that sold in Joplin, and it was early in the afternoon there, but fancy black long tail hard yearlings, which are almost impossible to find this time of year. They had a load of those, 50 head, weighed 850 pounds, bring 163.10, and that was by far the top sale there in Joplin, and your top price on yearlings nationwide for Monday there. But you look at a calf market that wasn't too far from Joplin, just south and west of there, down at Tulsa Stockyards. They sold some lighter calves really high, and that just goes to show you the demand for these wheat pasture calves. But 115 head of 471 pound steer calves just after lunch there in Tulsa bring $2 a pound. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.